So we are going to talk about AI Practitioner exam. I'm going to run you through a few great topics which are good to know prior you book your exam. And without further ado, let's get started. First, I'll run you through something which is called as prompts. So basically, we are going to create an application, folks. Okay, don't you worry. This is my application. In my application, I am going to ask something which is called as my input prompt, and I am going to expect response in exchange of my question, right? So that will be your response which is coming in from the application. Now this application needs something which helps it to take some decisions. At that time, model will come into picture. As of now, we are just talking about prompts. Yep. So what is a prompt? You understood. I'm going to ask model to generate something for me. So you need to know what is prompt. There are different types of prompt. Different type of prompts like there would be different type of prompts like zero shot prompt. I'm not going to give any example and I'm going to directly ask the model to generate response for me. I'm going to give some type of examples and I want the model to generate responses for me. That would be few short prompts. Moreover, depending upon certain values which you change, that is, if you change the inference parameters at that time, the responses of the models will change. That things we are going to cover as a part of prompt engineering. Okay, so you need to know all these things in this particular module. Cool. Okay, so I'll run you through those things. What is prompt engineering concepts? First is what is a prompt. Second is what is prompt engineering. Third one is types of prompts, few shot prompting, zero shot prompting. Also, there are certain times when you chain those prompts. So look for COT, chain of thoughts, out there when you're reading this particular link. Apart from that, I said depending upon your different type of inputs, there are something which is called as inference parameters. The output of the model generated would be different. So it influences model's response with inference parameters. The first one would be is temperature. The temperature value, the temperature value, if it is 0, it is going to give you statistical figures. It is going to give you numbers, everything which is 0. But if you want the model to generate creative responses, then you will go towards 1. This is for creative writings, for generating marketing collaterals and so on. Okay, so you understood. If it is statistical figures, it is 0. You want it to just give word to word exactly how it is. You will go for statistical figures and so on. So the value of temperature would be equals to 0. Temperature equals to 0. So that's all about it, which we are going to see it here. Okay, so what is temperature? A lower temperature setting results in more deterministic predictable outputs. You know that it's going to spit out facts, figures, numbers. So the task which is requiring higher accuracy and efficiency, you will go for it. You will go for non-creative tasks like translation, categorization, data extraction. The next up, we are going to talk about a higher temperature closing towards 1, inching towards 1 leads to more random and diverse outputs. It will be used for creative writing and storytelling. It will be used for generating marketing or advertising copy, and it will be used in engaging conversations. Whenever you're talking to a chatbot, it requires more engaging responses so that the human who is interacting is able to take it further and is contented with that conversations. So at that particular point of time, your temperature would be nearing or closing towards 1. I hope this helps you understand. And apart from that, there are other parameters which is like top K and top P, which I want you to go and check it out. Okay, the next up module is all about Amazon Bedrock. So Amazon Bedrock, why you need it? Yeah. So very first thing we did talk about, this is the application which we are going to host, And in this application, there is a model which is needed. Now, you will say, hey buddy, I have heard there are too many model providers out there. Yes, there are 7 plus model providers out there. So first one would be Anthropic, Claude. The next up would be AI-21 Labs, Amazon Titan model. Then you have something from Cohere. You have something from Stability Diffusion, Labs, and so on, right? All I want to tell you is there are so many model providers out there. Yeah. And there are 40 plus models. Do I need to remember all these things? No. All you need to know is Bedrock. What is Bedrock? Bedrock is going to help you build and scale Gen AI applications. So, you said me there are these many models. Where do I host my model? You can host it on our serverless infrastructure. That is where it is hosted on Bedrock. So, I don't have to host it, no. So, how do I access it? You can access it via API calls. So for the developers, you can access it via API and you generate the responses. So at that time, Bedrock comes into picture. It will help you build and scale generative AI applications. It is going to host your model. It is going to take care of manage access. You can define who has access to the model in which region and so on using Bedrock. Now you will say there were 40 models. From 40, I want to come down to 3, I want to come down to 2, I want to come down to 1. Yes, can be done. Depending upon your use case, you can select the model of your choice. If your use case is chatty applications in nature, you want to create chatty agents, agents who are going to have chats with the end user, you will go for Anthropic, Claude. If you're going to generate an image, you will go for Stable Diffusion or you will go for Amazon Titan model. Go and check it out. Yes. So basically, from 40, you were able to come to 3 depending upon your use case. Now, what you will do is you will give input prompts and you will measure the output based on relevancy, based on accuracy, based on amount of tokens consumed, that is what is the input gone and what is the output generated. You're measuring it in form of tokens and all those things that would be indirectly related to your cost. So you will measure how this model is performing, how this model is performing, how this model is performing, and you will say this is a model of my choice. And this can be done using Playground in Amazon Bedrock. I want you to go and check it out. Okay, so basically, you are able to choose the model. Hey, this is a model I'm going to select and I'm going to proceed in production. Yep. So at that time, Playground comes into picture. Cool. Okay. So you selected from 43 to 1. You are having the model of your choice. Also, do I need to remember those model providers? No. Do I need to remember those 40 plus models? Not needed. Only you need to understand few things like if you're going to create chat applications, images, and what are your use cases based on that, which particular model you will select. That's all. Okay, fine. So without further ado, proceeding further, what is Bedrock all about and what all things we're going to cover here? Let's go and check it out. Okay. So first is I talked about model choice. We have access to foundation models which are coming in from AI-21 Labs, Anthropic, Cohere, Meta, Mistral, Stability AI, and Amazon for text generation, for summarization, question and answering agents, image generations, and more. Now, how do I access the model? You are going to go into Bedrock, give the access to the model, and then you are going to access those models via API. How do I choose a model of my choice? Playgrounds. And what is this fine tuning all about? I'm going to come there. So basically, once you have selected a model, Once you have selected a model of your choice, this model was trained on large amount of data set in past. It was trained on large amount of data set in past. Now, if I put this model in medical field, or if it is an insurance field, and if I want this model to excel in certain task or certain task only, then what you're going to do, you are going to fine tune the model. If you want the model to excel in the domain of insurance, understand the lingo of it, you are going to go for continuous training. And there are times when you are like, I want the model to connect it to my enterprise data sources. I want the model to connect to enterprise data sources. So at that time, you will have to create a pipeline which is called as retrieval augmented generation. Go and check it out. What is RAG all about? Okay, I've given that to you in a video. All I'll say is, if I am uploading my vehicle documents, okay, and I want to create an insurance policy, this document will be broken down into small chunks, and then it will be stored into vectors. This vectors will be stored in a certain thing, a storage, which is called as vector store. That could be your open search, it could be your enterprise redis, yeah, or it could be any other source. Go and look for what are the vector sources which are available, and then whenever I'm asking a question which is related to that document, we are going to give your inputs, we are going to add something which is called as context as a part of augmentation, and then we're going to provide it as an input to the model will generate response. Now you will be like, hey bro, I don't have people who will be able to do all of these things. Okay, I don't want, or I cannot do all these things. At that time, managed RAG comes into picture, which you will see as knowledge bases in Bedrock. Okay, so this is how the flow looks like. If you want to customize a model, if you want to customize a model, you will be using fine tuning. You will be exposed to the terms like continuous training or RAG. And if you want to manage RAG, you will use knowledge bases. I hope this helps you understand why we are talking about customizing the model once you select it. And these are the terminologies which will come into picture. Without further ado, taking it further. So I want you to go and read about the Titan models. And then I did talk about what is a token. Yes, input, output, everything is measured, not only text along with the spaces and whatever you give in. So go and give it a read over here. Go and watch this video, and it will help you understand what is a token all about. I did talk about customizing the model. Here I have just covered what it is called as privately fine tuning with the labeled data set, or continuous pre-training with the unlabeled data set for making the model adapt to specific domain or industry. Okay, so you know what is fine tuning, you know a little bit about what is continuous pre-training. Apart from that, what did I say? There is something which is called as RAG. When you are going to connect enterprise data sources, at that time RAG will come into picture. Okay, I want you to watch this animated video. It will help you understand and dive deep further. Moving on, folks. Uh, did say I cannot handle everything on my own. I don't have expertise. You will go for knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock. It is going to ask you only 4 questions. It is going to ask you only 4 questions. That is, first one, what is, give me a second. It will ask you only 4 questions. Sorry for that. It will ask you 4 questions. First is, what is your input source? That is your S3 bucket. Second one, You have to break down the document into small parts. So what is that chunking mechanism you're going to use? Third one would be, what is your embedding model? It will give you the model choices, you need to select that. And the last one would be open vector store, it will be there. So it will be open search, or what all vector stores storage, that will be the option there. So that is where knowledge base for Amazon Bedrock comes into picture. Okay, it is saving you from that headache of maintaining the pipeline on your own. We generally call it as managed rack. Cool. Now this is all about knowledge base for Amazon Bedrock. Okay, I want you to go and read certain links out there, which I'm going to share it. Retrieve and generate responses with knowledge base AI. And second, persona based access to enterprise data for generative applications. You can download the PDF as well, alternatively here. Now, if you have a complex task like insurance, I wanted to break it down, create a claim for me, go and check whether the claim exists or not, and then do this, do that, send a reminder to someone. I want to break down that complex task into tiny tasks without minimal lines of coding. I want to send an API call. At that time, I'm going to use agents. So agents can plan and execute. They can break down the complex task into small multi-step across enterprise systems, knowledge bases, and APIs. Okay, so basically, I wanted to go and read this particular link where we are trying to show how you can introduce virtual agents so as to support the human agents, so as to automate certain questions which people ask in insurance claim. Hey, create a claim for me. Hey, I bought a new car. Which particular insurance I need to go for? What are the documents needed if in case I met with an accident? What is the flow to raise a claim? What is the status of my claim? So at all those stages, automation can be done. You can introduce agents and you can integrate that along with the knowledge bases and fire some queries. So if you do not want to read this and want to watch a video first, I've given you a link for that as well. Click here and just check it out. Okay. Now, apart from that, folks, apart from that, now what we are going to see is have used a model. I have used a model. The model is generating responses for me. Now, if this model, I'm asking some input, it is giving me some output. That is responses. I want the model for the kids to be under 18. I do not want to show any adult content. I do not want them to give some abusive words or cuss words or non-parliamentary words. I want to deny certain topics. I want to deny certain words. So guardrails will come into picture. If you have created a finance recommendation option, or if you have created a finance bot or a finance advisor, health advisor of your finance, right? But someone is saying, I have 100 lakh rupees and I want to generate 100x the income. Yes, recommend me the stocks of the day, tip of the day. And if this doesn't happen, what will happen then? The customer will come and sue you. So generally, I don't want the model to give stocks. I don't want the model to give tip of the day or recommended buying. I want to deny all these things. I'll use guardrails. Guardrails is also helpful to reduce hallucinations and to check the truth whether the responses is coming from the particular source or not. It helps you reduce the hallucination of the model as well. So at that time, guardrails will come into picture. We'll quickly run through that. Okay, so let's see what is in store in guardrails. First is how Amazon Bedrock guardrails will work. I want you to go and read through the documentation. Content filters, I did say that you can adjust the filters to block input prompts or the responses which are generated from the model which contains harmful content. The next up, deny topics. I wanted to define a set of topics which are undesirable ones, and that will be blocked if it is detected whether in your input or in the model responses. The third one, if there is a PI data, which is coming in, personally identifiable information which is being found, you can block or you can mask that sensitive information in user inputs and module responses as well. The next up, word filters. You can set some phrases, words, profanity words cuss words. Such words would be offensive, or it could be competitive words as well. Such filters can be applied too. The last one up, the ground contextual grounding check. So basically, you want to reduce a hallucination. You want to detect and filter hallucinations in the model responses based on grounding in a source. You want where the model generated the responses from, a link clicking on which you can see, hey, based on this, it generated the response and it is relevant to the user query at that time. Also, guardrails comes into picture, are definitely a good read. The next up is always about the pricing. On demand, if we talk about, I don't want to give any commitment, I want to go on pay as you go basis, it will be on demand. And if you're going for large amount of input output coming simultaneously, it's good to go for batching. So read about it. And the next one is about provision throughput. You want a model to support this much amount of input output number of prompts per second, then you will go for provision throughput. If you are going to customize a model, you will go for provision throughput 1 month, 6 months time, depending upon your need. Okay, so that is all about pricing, folks. Security, definitely we are going to talk about it. So there are times when you have generated a model, people are prompting something in such a way that they are making the model to spill out something which was not intended. You need to take care of prompt injections. You need to understand what is in my domain, what am I supposed to cover as a part of security. So there is something which is security matrix we are going to talk about. Moreover, your model would be, if this is a bedrock model, okay, yeah. So if you are using Bedrock, your data is not going to leave your VPC. We are not using your data. Your prompts are safe. We are not using them to train our models or the third party model providers. Okay. Also, we want to ensure that whatever your data is there in the VPC, it is never going to go to internet, or it is never going to travel via internet. So basically, if I want updates, then I need to use NAT gateway. Also, you will be using concepts of VPC endpoints, and you will be using private link, which is what I have given it in this particular module as a part of recommended reading. So go and check it out. Okay, so once again, all I would say is, as a part of security, I want you to deep dive into Amazon Bedrock security architecture, which is given over here, and a video for you to watch. Along with that, if there are bad prompts, or if someone is putting some malicious prompts, how do you detect that using salting? How do you prevent things? I want you to go and read about it. Apart from that, how do you protect your data using Amazon VPC? I did say it won't traverse through internet, it will traverse through private link. You're creating a connection between your VPC and Bedrock, and VPC and Bedrock, and I'm sorry for this. Coming back here, okay. After this, we'll talk about something which is related to securing generative AI as a part of scoping metrics. What is my part and what is your part? Now, moving on to the next one, responsible AI. You need to generate the responses. It should not be very biased. It should not be, hurting someone, damaging someone. So, what is responsible AI all about? I want you to go and check it out, and the best practices. This link will take you to Skill Builder course. Log in and check it out. Apart from that, folks, now before you book your exam, I want you to run you through a quick machine learning services of AWS. If in case you want to validate the response of machine learning predictions, you're going to use Amazon Augmented AI. Apart from that, you're going to use Bedrock for building and scaling generative applications. Comprehend to understand the context of the text and generate some sentiments. Fraud detector, if any transactions are happening, any fraud is detected, you want to detect and find that out, you will use machine learning. Kendra for generating enterprise searches out there. Lex for contextual as well as building voice and text chatbots. Personalize to personalize and give real-time recommendations for your applications. Titan, what it is about, a generative AI powered assistant. Recognition to search and analyze images. So basically, I want to find a variable, or if you're running a marathon, I want to find you came first. I'll use recognition to find out your number printed on your chest. SageMaker, if you want to build, train, and deploy your own models, machine learning models, you'll use SageMaker. Text extract to extract data from virtually any document. Along with that, you have its transcribe, which converts powerful speech recognition. There is one missing on the screen, which is called as poly. Poly is going to convert your text to speech. And the last one is translation, which is going to be done using machine learning. Okay, with this, I would say, then moving on to the next topic, choosing the right inference type, how you're going to host a model, where you're going to host a model. Once again, you need to be aware of what is inference, what is choosing right inference type. It depends upon the data size. If the data is coming in huge, you will go for batch. Yep, or you will go for asynchronous inference. The next up is latency requirements. If you want the model to generate the responses at instantaneous, no latency, so at that time you will go for real-time inference or batch transform for tolerant workloads. I don't know why it is coming there again. So that is latency requirement. The next step is processing time. Processing time is for serverless and quick processing, a batch transform. The next step is frequency of use. So basically, persist endpoints for frequent use, batch transformation, and infrequent processing. Infrastructure management, serverless, you will go for minimal infrastructure management. Key definitions you need to know before you book your exam. And if you want to further dive deep, look for enhanced prep course on Skill Builder for this particular exam. You will have labs, you will have videos, recordings, exam style questions, flashcards, approximate 8 hours. Once you finish this, you're good to appear for your exam. And I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Bye.